You walk into a feedback session with your boss, and instead of being told, great job, keep it up, you're told, we don't see you making it here, so we're not going to renew your contract, or you're fired. So what do? Do you immediately quit, storm off, do you tell him off, or do you stay and do as crappy job as possible and sandbag the place on your way out? Or do you work harder than you did before and win in the end? I want to tell you my story and how I dealt with this exact situation, and I hope it helps you in your life. So basically, I had been acting as the base civil engineer in my organization for about a year. Thought I'd been doing good, projects moving along, things doing great, I thought. And went on a trip with the organization and was brought in for my midterm feedback for that year by my new boss. And instead of being told, here's what we see going forward, make these changes, or you're doing great, whatever, I was told, we don't see you as a future leader in this organization. We don't see you staying here at this unit. So when your contract ends, you're going to be finished. So you might want to start looking for something else to do. I was shocked. I thought things were going great. Projects had been going well. And I didn't see any reason for all this. So when you know you're not valued in an organization, you need to find an exit strategy. So the first thing I did as soon as I went back to my dorm during that time, again, I was away from home, is I got on the computer and I started looking for jobs. I found a few things I put in for them while I was there, but the shock hadn't really hit me yet. And like, what have I done? What is going wrong here? Shook my faith a lot. I started doubting myself. Had I been doing things incorrectly this whole time, or was I not looking at myself in the right way? And I could have started saying, well, this place doesn't like me, so I'm not going to do a great job for them, or I'm going to just let things lie out until it fades off or whatever happens. But I said, I'm not going to give them an excuse to get rid of me. I'm not going to give them any more excuses or any more reasons that they can try to shorten the tenure that I had and try to get rid of me quicker. So you get put on tours. So it can be 1 year up to 6 years at a time. I was brought in, my initial tour was 6 years. I had done 4 years of that time length, and they said, at the end of these 2 years, you're finished. Granted, that's better than saying you got 2 weeks or you're immediately fired, but I had planned to stay in this area for a long time. I had bought a house. I had thought I was gonna be grounded for a while and not move anymore. Well, that all changed. So one of the things I started looking at is, I don't want them to actually fire me. If you do bad enough, there are ways to get rid of military and or government employees. And I didn't want to be that. I wanted to work as hard as I could, and I was determined to focus on what I was doing right and do it better, see if I was doing anything wrong and any issues, and I wanted to correct that, and I want to be better than I was before. The person who had been my commander before, he had come back down in that role, and I asked him, what could I do better? What do they not like about me? What is my issue? And for this organization, he basically told me, they just don't like you. It doesn't matter. Yes, I see all the things you've done. You're doing everything in accordance with your job. There's no reason they should let you go. If they don't want you to be a leader or the next commander, that's one thing, but in your job you're doing now, there's no reason you should be let go, and if you wanted to, you should be allowed to stay. So I determined that there was no reason to continue to try to stay there. There was nothing for me to stay there for, but also, like I said, didn't want to give them a reason to be fired or let go earlier than I should be. And I wanted to have as much time as I could to find that next job to take care of myself and my family, because no one wants to go without employment. I want to make sure that was covered. It shook my faith a lot. I was wondering, is something wrong? Was I doing something incorrectly, or what was wrong about me? And it made me question as a person and my faith with God, thinking if I do things right, good things will come. And we look at adversity, we look at hard times as the point of, we're being punished for something, or things aren't going perfect, so what do we do wrong? And granted, I have done things wrong. I've messed up a lot, and I was messing up a lot in that. I didn't have good relationships. I walked in the door being very forceful and being very aggressive with that organization, wanted more friendly terms and wanted everyone to get along. And I caused some ripples when I got there. So those are some things that I could have done better. However, the projects that I was doing, the job that I was acting on, that I was hired to do, was being done very well. It was just a personality issue. So instead of doubting it, I started thinking, have I done anyone wrong? Have I been slacking on the job at all? What could it be? And as I walked through it, I found that there wasn't anything there that would cause that or be an issue, other than I just wasn't taste. I wasn't the type of person they wanted to have around, but it had nothing to do with the work that I was doing. In fact, I was doing great work, not according to me. If I could show you my write-ups, it'd show all the work that I did, and we even won Best Engineer Flight for 2012 during that time. So good work was being done. As I was working harder, getting more things done, pushing more, being more respectful, working as hard as I could, about the November time frame, I heard back that I'd been selected for an interview for an actual leadership position. So I was to notification that I had an interview coming up. Sat down, talked with my boss, and he said, can you write a letter of recommendation? And he did, based on the exact work that I've been in project management, and wrote it up like that. Had the interview and ultimately was selected to move to another state at another position, another base, and take on a command position, a leader. And I wasn't the best leader, but I had the experience that I'd had the years prior and what I'd done just recently, and I took that forward in my next position. Long story short, things excelled, made a lot of changes, did a lot of great things. But the message I want to leave you with here is the fact that I didn't quit. I kept my faith. I reflected, I looked inward on myself, and I wanted to see what had happened. I wanted to see if I had done anything wrong. And if I had, I would have wanted to change those and tried to stay, but there wasn't anything that I could have done in that organization. And sometimes you may be left with that also. And you may be put in a position where the organization doesn't want you, or they tell you what you need to change, you need to make those changes. But if it is as bad as they just don't like you, don't quit, don't get depressed, you can reflect and hammer down, put more work into what you're doing, and don't give them any excuse to get rid of you while you're looking for that other position. Continue working hard, continue doing the best you can do, even if it benefits the organization. What is nothing anyone can say negative about you. They can never say, well, he or she did a bad job on XYZ, or they just gave up and they quit. You continue to persevere, and you can move on to that next thing. Long story short, if you've been faced with being let go, if you're faced with that right now, I want you to keep working hard. I want you to keep your faith in yourself, reflect, can you make changes, but don't give up and don't quit, and don't shatter the place on your way out. Make it as good as you can on the way out while you're finding that next position, so no one can speak ill of you or say anything bad about you. So unless they're straight liars, and you may have that, but you can always rebut it, and you can come back against it and say, no, I did X, Y, Z. I did 1, 2, 3 things to make this place better, even though I was told I was no longer needed at the location. So if you like this content, if you like what I said, if it resonated with you, if it was something that made you think, or something you've had to deal with, or you've got something right now in your life and you're trying to wondering how to deal with the situation, please comment, put your situation there. If you ask for any advice, I'll be glad to offer anything that I've got. I don't know everything, and there's always something new and something I haven't dealt with before, but there's other people in the comments that may say it too, and they may be able to comment. They may be able to provide some sort of feedback to you to help out, and that's what I want Berzerker Brotherhood to be, is us supporting ourselves, men supporting men, iron sharpens iron, to make you better, stronger, a better leader, a better father, a better husband, a better friend. Whatever it is, to make you better as a man, to continue on in this life of ours and to persevere in the chaos that we have around us. I thank you, and we'll talk to you later. Out here.